Aloha Hawaii, this is Pokalai Nui and you are listening to Hawaiian Potppourri. The time now is 6:36. The date is the 22nd day of April in the year 2012. Welcome to the program, or welcome back to the program. And let's see what else we have to talk about. What's happening in Afghanistan? Well, we've heard that the Taliban has attacked several cities, making a direct attack against U.S. forces. And the propaganda is that the Afghanistani force responded and was able to suppress the attack. Someone has written an article saying that it's just a reflection of how weak the Taliban are, because they had to carry out this attack without any stronghold or really firmly established position, and they had to move around and jump from place to place in this attack. This was a statement made by a conservative think tank that has been supporting the U.S. war in Afghanistan all this time. As I read that article, I was telling myself, isn't this a smarter thing to do, not to establish yourself in a particular stronghold? Because the fact is that the Taliban forces there are far weaker than the American military force, or now the beefed up Afghanistan puppet government force. And so you don't want to establish yourself at a particular position, because you're going to get nailed by the superior firepower. So what they're doing is, of course, fighting the battle in a different way, and that is very similar to what the American revolutionaries fought against the British, and that was through guerrilla warfare. And but the effect of the attack, I think, was one in which, when you take a look at winners and losers, that the Taliban was far more effective, and their end result was far ahead of the United States forces or of the Karzai forces in Afghanistan, because they were able to attack and not only be effective in a military way in these three cities, but they were also able to continue to push American occupation of Afghanistan towards the U.S. leaving Afghanistan, because the general public's opinion continues to degrade, or some would say it's not degrading, it's improving, and that is to get the United States out of Afghanistan as quickly as possible. The numbers continually climb in terms of those who favor getting U.S. forces out of Afghanistan. So that as a political issue, there is no question about it. The majority by far would support the U.S. leaving Afghanistan. And it seems now that they're moving away from the discussion that the war in Afghanistan is a legitimate war. Previously, Barack Obama was saying the Iraqi war is an illegitimate war. We need to close that down and get out as quickly as possible. But in Afghanistan, he was saying that is a legitimate war. Now we're not hearing that kind of music coming out of the Obama administration. They are playing that down, and they're suggesting, or it seems like people are more easily admitting that even the war in Afghanistan is illegitimate and is just costing a greater cost than the United States government was willing to pay. This shibai, that, well, the war in Afghanistan is really a coalition of forces in Afghanistan, is nothing more than a shibai. The United States is at the head of that force. It is a singular force that, if it was not there, there would be no effective war going on in Afghanistan. NATO would not be continually in there, and even now you find NATO forces are pulling out one after the other. Obama is trying to shore that up by saying, no, hold on to the deadline, stay in Afghanistan and the rest, while he himself is removing removing military forces out of Afghanistan. So we've seen France pulling out their forces. I believe Spain is also removing theirs. Australia is removing theirs. And basically they're saying, forget it, it's a lost war. And why should we continue to bank the Americans just so that they can continue with their politics within the United States and their war outside of the United States? When I heard the news that there were attacks in these various cities, it reminded me of the Tet Offensive in the Vietnam War. Now, I need to come to the recognition that many of the people in the audience may not remember back to the Vietnam War. And the general public may see it as a historical event, but it's not as real because they didn't live through that period of time. So by referring back to this war or that war, for me, that would be the case in the Second World War and, of course, the First World War. These are wars that I did not live through. I was born after the Second World War or after that war ended. So my consciousness is not there. When other people talk about the Second World War and things like that, I can only speak of it from having read the papers or read in the books and the rest, other interpretations of that war. But for Vietnam, it's a little bit more present. I did serve in the military service during that period of time. Anyway, so it brought back memories of the Tet Offensive, and with the North Vietnamese becoming much more active, and it just reflected the continuing strength that they had, and that they were not cowered by the U.S. forces. If you would like to share an opinion on some of these matters, or if you want to go back to some of the stuff that we talked about in prior programs, our telephone number here is 524-1080. And this is Hawaiian Potppourri. I'm giving you an opportunity to raise other matters. Last night we had a caller who wanted to talk about a different subject than what we were on at that time. And he was very conscious of the fact that others were talking about the Dalai Lama's visit. And so he postponed any continuing mention of some of the issues that he wanted to talk about. Well, this is an opportunity if you would like to call and share an opinion on some of the matters that are occurring here in Hawaii. I've been sort of playing this announcement of this Voyage of Aloha, and I want to say that I do have a particular interest in this program, and because I am sort of on the planning committee, I've been talking with Roger Epstein and assisting him in how he has been organizing this program. I'm going to play it again and then use that as a subject of further discussion. Here it is, the announcement of the Voyage of
For over 75 years, science has confirmed what the wisdom of all societies has said for millennium. Not only are we separate material beings, we're totally connected by and through a universal energy. If you believe the time has come to begin to live from the reality of our connectedness instead of separateness, please join with the Voyage of Aloha community, the Joseph Campbell Foundation, the World Business Academy, and many other supporting organizations over this Memorial Day weekend. That's May 25th to 30th, 2012, for Ho'omaka'i, a Voyage of Aloha honoring the work of Joseph Campbell, the conference at the Pagoda Hotel in Honolulu, Hawaii, and streamed live worldwide. I'm Roger Epstein, and invite you to join with kindred spirits to map your own hero's journey to live the rest of your life in connection and service. Find out more at www.voyageofaloha.com.
Joseph Campbell had, I understand, died here in Hawaii. He had lived in Hawaii part-time, I think 6 months out of the year. Married a local woman, I don't know her name, but she was of a Kama'aina family. And I didn't know much of this until more recently, and getting talking with Roger Epstein. It's interesting. I've tried to follow a lot of the productions that was made around Joseph Campbell's stories. There were some great interviews with what was his name? I forget the interviewer's name. But the whole idea of the hero's journey and what is the basic structure of the hero's journey and the commonality of that journey among many other stories that Joseph Campbell had studied. More than just stories, but grand myths. And so this conference is going to be sort of a follow-up to see what are the contributions that can come from Hawaii in the continuing creation or recreation of major life stories that can formulate our future and bringing about peace in the world. So it's a mixture of a lot of different views on this. We do have a caller. Let's go to our telephone line. Aloha caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is the volume okay? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Your volume seems to be a little high because the voice is kind of not rough, but muted like. But go ahead and
put my volume down a little bit.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's still...
I'm calling in reference to the malware. Are you familiar with what's going on with this?
I'm sorry, tell me.
Apparently what happened is some international hackers infected a lot of computers worldwide.
Yeah.
And many people may have their computers infected without knowing it.
I'm sorry, caller.
If they don't check it, it'll all go off. It won't be able to access the internet by, I don't know, sometime in July, I think. It'll just disappear. In other words, they'll turn on the computer and it won't work. What you can do is, they got a website called dcwg.org.
dcwg.org.
Yeah, to check whether their computer is infected and how to fix it. So after July 9, if you don't get on top of it, your computer will just be dead. Now, it won't be dead, but you won't be able to connect to the internet.
And where did this virus come from?
The virus came from some international hackers who ran an online advertising scam, and it just spread all over the place. So.
Okay.
Anyway, I think people should check and make sure that their computer is not, your computer will start slowing down and disabled or just not be able to connect to the internet.
I see. And the
check form on the address is dcwg.org. You should go to that site.
Okay.
Check whether your computer is infected, and it'll explain how to fix it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Take care. Aloha. And so I know that his voice was somewhat muted. I hope you could hear him. And what I got was the website is dcwg.org. Okay, so thank you very much for your call. Earlier we were talking about this Voyage of Aloha, which is going to be at the end of the month of May, and it will be held at the Pagoda Hotel. And what that will be about is, as we were going through the agenda for this conference, it'll be a 5-day conference, and it gives people the opportunity to interchange with one another. And we will bring in some speakers, and some of the speakers will be from Hawaii. And so this will be a working together and trying to find what are the stories or the new stories that needs to be created. Our telephone number here, 524-1080. Let's go to our next caller. Aloha caller, welcome to the program.
Yeah, Puka. I couldn't hear the last caller speaking, but what he said about the virus, the computer
Yeah,
virus?
he says that as of July the 9th, if you don't clean your computer, the virus is scheduled to, I guess, attack your computer so that you will not be able to communicate to the internet by that time. And the the website to go to for more information is dcwg.org.
How come I never hear about it on the news or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Broadcast on the news, huh?
Well, I think I heard about it in one of the newspaper articles, but I didn't follow up on it. And my expectation is that when it comes around to that point, I think the internet carriers will be addressing that issue and will be supplying information and antivirus programs to be able to address that issue. But I don't know.
So this is what, before June 9th?
Yes, he says by July 9th.
Or July 9th?
Yes.
Oh, I see. I have to purchase that, we call it the Norton Internet Security anyway, that protects against viruses.
Yeah, there's a lot of those different virus or antivirus systems, that one can purchase. And Norton.
Mine's one kind of expires around June, July, around there.
This is an effort to renew your.
Yeah. So, but that one's kind of expensive. It's like $35.
Norton for how long? 3 years?
1 year.
1 year.
But I understand that you can clean it on 3 different computers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But that's if you get 3 computers. I get only 1 computer. So
And go split.
I need 2 extra years.
And go split the cost with 2 other friends.
Yeah, I know. And they give me some money. I don't know. First time I heard about this.
Yeah, about that one.
Yeah, I gotta find that out.
Yeah.
So I have to just go on that website there to find DCW.
Yeah, but make sure you don't download anything from websites you cannot trust.
Yeah. See, if you go on this website, you might give them virus. I don't know about that.
Yeah, the problem is you always got to be very careful, yeah?
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to touch about is you heard about the Donovan De La Cruz bill, and I understand that it's going to be voted on in the Senate House. But I heard him on the North Shore board that it sounds like he's twisting words around, saying that this bill was not really intended to exempt have construction being exempted, right away type development type thing. He was mentioning that it was meant for land that was already buildings that was already condemned, and that land was pretty much off limits for development, and it was meant for those lands.
I see.
I don't believe that's really true. I think it's really a right-of-way type of a bill.
Yeah, I'm noticing we only have 20 seconds more.
Coming in.
Yeah.
Kaulana nā pua o Hawaii, Tūpa'a mahope o ka aina, Iki mai ka elele o ka loko ino, Pala pala anunu me ka paka. Mane mai Hawaii moku o ke ave, Koku ana honoa o Pi'ilani, Ka ko'o mai ka ua I o mano, Pa'aku me ke oni o ka kuhi hewa,
ai nā ku ai hewa I ka pono sivila a o ke kanā